Hello everybody! In this video I'm gonna show you how I made this foxtail bracelet from start to finish. If you learned something from this video, remember to like and subscribe. So let's begin! I start by taking 0.8mm silver wire and coil it on a 14mm mandrel. I end up with 4 coils I then cut into jump rings. After making all the jump rings, I bent them to make the two ends meet up. To close all the jump rings, I add a small amount of silver solder paste on the seams. I'm using a butane torch to make the silver solder paste flow. It is important to not just focus the flame on the solder paste, but to heat up the whole jump ring to make the solder flow evenly. After all the jump rings have been soldered, I am using a round nose plier to stretch the ring into ovals. I am then using a flat nose plier to squeeze the ovals together. The last step is then to bend the ovals around a round nose plier to make them into a U-shape. To start the bracelet, one of the U-shaped pieces is threaded through the two hoops of another piece. The next U-shaped piece is then threaded through the hoops of both the first and the second U-shaped pieces. The two hoops of this bracelet is quite narrow, so I'm using some pliers to help me pull the U-shaped pieces through. After every U-shaped piece has been added, I'm using a pointy tool to widen the hoops so that the next U-shaped piece easily fit through. This process of fitting a new jump ring onto the two previous and then widen the hoops is continued until all the jump rings have been added. All the U-shaped pieces have been added, the bracelet is very stiff due to all the tight fittings. So to loosen the bracelet, I'm pulling it over a mantle which is gonna loosen it. After pulling the bracelet over the mantle, it has lost a lot of its stiffness and is now behaving more like a normal bracelet. To make all the links have the same dimension, I'm pulling it through square holes, which is also gonna make the bracelet a bit longer. All the sides of the bracelet is then filed to make them more even and square. I'm using sandpaper to remove some of the filing marks from the files. To make the two ends of the bracelet, I take a silver tubing and cut it into two pieces. To close one of the ends of the tubes, I then solder it to a flat piece of silver with some silver solder paste. I then remove the excess zero to make the bottom flush with the rest of the tube. To close the bracelet, I solder a hook to one of the ends and a hoop to the other end. This is going to work as my closing mechanism for the bracelet. To finish the bracelet, the two ends is then soldered to the bracelet itself. I decided to darken the bracelet. So to do this, I placed the bracelet in an oxidation solution, which is going to oxidate the bracelet. I then tumbled the bracelet for 2 hours, which is going to leave it nice and shiny. This is how the bracelet looked after it came out of the tumbler. It has a really nice black tone to it, and it looks really nice. You could easily stop here and be satisfied with the bracelet, but I decided to give the bracelet some highlights, so I used some sanding paper to remove some of the oxidation. The bracelet is then thrown into the tumbler again for another 2 hours. This is how the bracelet looked with the highlights after 2 hours in the tumbler. I really like the highlights, as it gives the bracelet a really nice shiny look, but still keeps some of the dark spots. I hope you liked and maybe learned something from this video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to see my next video.